All right. So why don't we do this? Do you have any questions first and foremost about anything we've done so far?
I guess, is there a way to tell the system that you're actually wanting to write a figure before you type the whole thing? Because it seems that you do it, then you highlight it, and you choose the format, right?
Yeah, that's a great question. The question was, is there a way to, like, from the start before you write anything else, format the text the way that you want to?
Yeah, you're gonna start like last night. I went to do that with the table that I added to the outline.
Yeah.
And I had already created one, but then I needed to write and select the format. So it was the other way around now.
Right. So if you're creating stuff in this document, you can absolutely set it up that way beforehand. And you would just, so let's say in this statistics section, I'm going to insert a table, right? I'm going to call it table 2, let's just say. And then I'll have some caption that's associated with it related to statistics. Oh, but I didn't do this the way that I was saying I'm going to do it. So here's what I would do. I would go up here and find my table caption, which is this one right here. Okay, so now this right here is table caption, and I just type in table 2. I would put in like formatting for a stats table or whatever I wanted to call it. Okay, and then when I create the table, when I space down there, it's still on table caption. So then what I would do is go to the other formatting that we use, which is called table text, right? And then I would create my table with the table text option.
So even without any information, it stays on the format that you want.
Stays on whatever format I want. Yeah. So right here is table text. I'll put in table text. And then down here is still table text, but now I want that to be normal, right? Because everything that's not a table, whatever, is not a, should be normal. All right. So we finished off, if you would pull out the outline for your research plans. Looks like, right? Like that document right there. So where we are right now is just kind of included some information related to chapter 3, right? And we worked our way down from heading 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So we've done up through heading 4s, right? And in terms of our levels. So the next one that we could do is on a new page, put in chapter 4 and anticipated results for headings 1 and 2, and then we could do the same thing for chapter 5 conclusions and do that on a new page. So tell me if I want to go to a new page, what should I do here?
Insert page break.
Yep. And the page breaks are generally in the layout menu, right? And so I just go to break and page, right? Put that in. And then I would do the thing that we just talked about with Edgar, and that is I would pick heading 1, right? So I'll go up here and find my heading 1, and then I'll type in this chapter, and this is chapter 4. And even though it's formatting it, right, in all caps, I've found that the way I type it in matters when we format the table of contents. So when I was typing in chapter 4, I made sure to hold down the shift key when I put in the C, so that the C, like the underlying formatting with the C, is that it's capitalized. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was typing, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So what Microsoft Word is going to do, right, is it's going to search through my document and find all the places where I put in a heading 1 or heading 2 or heading 3, etc. And then it's going to pull all that stuff and put it into a table of contents with page numbers using those same titles. But what I've noticed with working on this, and this just comes from experience, is that if when I type in chapter 4, if I just do it all like in when I'm typing it in, just without any formatting at all, whatever way I typed it in, that's the format that it's going to be in the table of contents. So what I do with my headings, because I want the C to be capitalized in the table of contents, I just hold down the shift key, and though you don't see it, it's, you know, behind the scenes, so to speak. Does that make sense? So I'm gonna hit enter, and then the next heading that we're gonna do is a heading 2, right? So heading 2, and this is going to be, for our purposes right now, anticipated results. So the same thing goes, right? Okay, I'm gonna capitalize A, and this one makes more sense because the formatting for this one is not all caps, right? But anyway, type it in the way that you want it to appear. In other words, type it in the way that you want it to appear in your table of contents. That's the point that I'm getting at here. Okay. And then we can scroll down a little bit and put in another heading 2 for discussion. And then hit enter a couple times. And then our next main heading is going to be chapter 5 conclusions.
On the discussion, did you use heading 2?
I use heading 2. Yeah. At least I think I did. Yes, I did. Okay. So then let's put in another page break, the layout, and then breaks and page break. And here I'm going to call this, because it's going to be chapter 5 conclusions. I'm going to do a heading 1 for chapter 5. And again, why don't you just do it this way? When you type in chapter 5, don't make the C capitalized, just so you see how this is going to work when we get the table of contents. So I this time, just for purposes of this exercise, I did not hold down the shift key when I typed in chapter or when I typed in the C.
But is it gonna do the same thing though?
No. So what'll happen is when I format my table of contents for chapter 5, everything will be lowercase. Okay. So it's just to show you that. All right. So next heading is heading 2, and that is conclusions. And then we can hit enter a couple of times and do a page break again. And here we're going to insert a couple more different heading 1s, and you can see what they are, right? They're references, publication plans, timetable, and budget, and each one of those should be on a different page. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and insert those. Right, you get the idea.
Maybe 17, 18, it's 1 page break for everyone.
1 page, yeah. So each of those things should be on a brand new page. And then all the headings that are on the top of the page that you see there are heading 1. And what we can end at after you put in the budget for now. Alex, you good? You got any questions?
I do. I think I understand most everything happened. Because the formatting that I've seen so far today, it's been pretty similar to the previous day. It's just
Yeah,
different stuff.
just so far, we've been doing the same thing. Are you ready? Fantastic. All right, so let's go to chapter 4, anticipated results. And let's say that in your anticipated results, we want to have one of our pages in there be landscape orientation, right? So instead of having the sheet in the profile orientation, we're going to turn it this way. Let's say that you had a wide table, right, that had a lot of data in it. Sometimes you need to do that. So the way that we tell Word that we want to change the formatting of a page is by creating a new section. So the section that we're going to do is create what's called a section break. If you go to layout, and anyway, what I've done is I've just put my cursor right above the discussion. So I have a couple places where I've hit enter, and then it's right above the discussion. And I'm showing my formatting again with the paragraph symbols, right? And the way that, of course, we can show that is with this toggle right there. Okay. And again, those are not printed. So I'm going to go to that spot right there, and then I'm going to go to layout and go to breaks. And if we go down to section, I'm going to go to the first one, which is a section break and a next page one. Okay. So I'm going to insert that. So you'll see up here that I have chapter 4 anticipated results and then a section break. Right there. And then what I want to do is create another section break right here. Okay. So I'm going to put my cursor right in front of discussion, and I'm going to insert another break right there. That's going to be a section break next page. Okay. So now discussion is by itself, and then I have this one page, right, that's all alone here. Okay. And I'm just going to select my, can you tell that right here that there is there's formatting that's been inserted, right? Because that little black dot is there, and I want to make that normal again. So I'm just going to make that normal. It's not a big deal. Okay. So from here then, if I want to make this page landscape and everything else profile, then I'm going to go to layout again. All right, so layout, and then I'm going to go to orientation. Click on the down arrow. Sorry, not profile, portrait is what I meant to say. And then I'm going to just click on landscape and see if that'll do it. And look at that. Right? Okay. If I wanted to get rid of it, right, I could just select this section break here and my return signs above it and delete them. And I get rid of it. But we'll leave it in for now. Okay.
Is there like a standard when you make a decision to put it like with more space? Because the table that I'm using on the outline that I sent you, it was a horizontal table. But when I actually transferred to the outline, it looked good.
Right.
Portrait.
Yeah, I mean, I would say if your data look good on portrait, leave it portrait, right? Because that's simpler and that's the more straightforward way that people look at stuff. I would say if you feel like the data table or the diagram or whatever it is so wide that you feel like you would have to rotate it 90 degrees to fit it well on the page, then that's when you might want to consider going to landscape orientation.
Oh, but I was thinking about probably the size of the font and all that, because of course, if you have it horizontally for landscape, the font is bigger.
Right.
I just made it fit in a way that probably you'll have more problem reading it because it's smaller.
So small. So that's a problem, right? If you put something on something you can't read.
Well, you can read it, but of course you can read it better.
So I guess I would just kind of caution you is that whatever you put in, whatever you write, you should be able to read it. Right? And read it pretty easily. So you don't want it to be a struggle for whoever is reading your work for them to see it.
I have a
Yeah.
question about this formatting of the landscape page. When you do that, do you now have to change the margins because, like, and also,
Right.
on top of that, the other part of it is like, if you were to bind your thesis and you do this, how would you, like, you wouldn't just put one page that's now sideways, right? In the bound notebook,
You would.
you would.
Well, so the way that this will print, right, is it's going to print this thing and it's going to print everything in portrait mode. But the data that's on here is going to be sideways.
Right, but
Right.
the page isn't gonna be sideways when we bind it.
No. So this page right here will be rotated 90 degrees like that. And then that top margin is what's bound because that's the one that's going to be at 1.5.
If that's the case, could we not change the section of this page for the graph and just put the graph in 90 degrees? To avoid that?
You could
Okay.
do that, but then when you create the caption for it, it's more of a hassle,
Gotcha.
right? Because the caption, then you got to rotate that caption 90 degrees also. It's easy to insert a figure 90 degrees, right? To rotate it 90 degrees. But I think as you are working on the document, it's easier when things are straight up and down. So that's the utility of this. Yes.
One more follow-up question. So if we were to print out their thesis, make our section page sideways, when you say we were gonna rotate it 90 degrees, is it better to rotate it 90 degrees, this like clockwise or counterclockwise? For when you
Right.
bind it?
Yeah, I mean, by default, it's gonna rotate it counterclockwise printing.
Okay.
Right. And so I honestly don't know how to have it rotate the other way.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I'm sure there might be a way
But that would be up to the preference of the
of you,
okay, cool.
as far as I know. Right. All right. Any other questions? No. All right. So what have we missed?
Oh shit, I do have one more question.
Of course.
So if you do, okay, so it is up to the preference of the author to choose the orientation. Would it be permissible to do it in a way so that you aim to have the, like, if the graph is going to be on the right side of the document, because I'm imagining that it's going to be kind of like you reading through this and it's going to be double-sided.
It's typically single-sided.
I think typically single-sided. Okay, never mind then. Because then it doesn't quite matter.
Yeah. And most of the time now people don't even print them.
Right.
The printed copy is for you if you want it.
Gotcha.
And your advisor if they want it, but most of the time people don't want anything printed anymore.
Cool.
So it's just digital. All right. Other questions? Good ones. Okay, so what we have here, if we scroll through the pages, right, we have a figure that we've created there. We have that table that we created there, and then we have a table caption that we put here. Let's see here. Do you have from your outline assignment, do you have a piece of data that you got, that you cut out of that journal article? So you should, right? So I know that Edgar, you have a table, right? That you've cut out. So in your literature review, below that figure 1 there, go ahead and insert another, whatever it is, a table or a caption, and include the proper formatting for the table caption or the figure caption, whatever it is. You know what I mean? I will do that also. And why don't we do this also? So have you been keeping up with Mendeley? Okay, even if you haven't, that's okay. Do you have anything in Mendeley? Okay, so let's just pretend in your case that what you're putting in there is from one of those articles that you have in Mendeley. Just pretend that. So why don't you, because I got this picture right here, this diagram from a textbook. So I'm just going to put the fact, my reference for that, or my citation for that. And so if I take it directly from it, it's excerpted from, and then you insert the citation. Okay, so I'm going to go to references and then go to Mendeley site. And oftentimes it'll ask you to sign in, but I've already signed in for today. So if it asks you to sign in, then you sign in. And then you pick the article that has the content from where you come. And if you've been saving stuff in a folder, that's kind of a helpful way to, or in a collection, that's a helpful way to find the stuff that you're looking for. And so I would encourage you to do that.
So that goes after the whole title, right?
What's that?
Yeah. The accepted from, you're gonna put it all the way to the end.
So excerpted from should just give me the correct citation for it. And the correct citation is the author's name and the year.
Yeah, but I mean, after, it's at the end of the.
At the end, yeah, at the end of my caption. Okay, and the correct format for something like this is you remove the parentheses around the author's name, so you can just edit it straight in the box that goes in. And I'm calling it excerpted from Rawal et al. And then the date is in parentheses. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is scroll all the way down to my reference list, which is here. And I am going to, are you ready?
To add the,
To have the, yeah. Then I'm going to go to the 3 dots right here and go to insert bibliography. And it'll say, it's going to insert it where your cursor is. You say insert, and then you got this box right here. And you know, we might want to create a style for, actually, we could probably just use preliminary pages. That's what I would suggest, is preliminary pages. Because you don't want your references to be double spaced. You want to be single spaced.
oh, that should be single space.
Should be, yeah. Otherwise, it's going to take up, you know, lots and lots of real estate. It's also nice to have it have a hanging indent. And so what that looks like is that all the, if you go up here to this like hourglass on the margin, and you click on the bottom one, it's kind of tricky to get it sometimes. But if you click on just the bottom one, then you can move it in like that.
And that doesn't have to do anything with the style that you're using, whether it has or not.
Well, let's go and check and see the modify. And I don't have automatically update selected, so which I don't want in this case, because if I did automatically update, then anywhere where I have preliminary text, then it would change it anywhere in the document. So you could create a new style called references, right? And I was lazy, so I didn't do that. But you could probably, for your thesis, it might be helpful to create a new style called references.
You said you will not check if the style requires the annotation there, or
I'm sorry.
are you're gonna check if that style that you're using requires the spacing between there, or the first and the other lines, or?
Oh, I just did this so that if I had another reference that was going to be inserted here, it would be easy to see where the new reference was. There's one issue though, and that is that this is not going all the way to the left-hand margin. You notice that? And I'm not sure why that is.
There is a triangle at the top on the ruler, the one that's upside down.
Yeah,
We pull that, or sorry, the one with the box underneath it.
yeah,
If you pull one of those to the left, it should move the whole index. I don't remember which one you move, but
that one.
maybe, but that also moves the top indent, because the top triangle is the one where text typically starts.
Right.
And bottom triangles, I cannot tell you which one goes.
No, that worked. That did what I wanted it to do.
Yeah, but maybe move the other stuff that Alex is saying. If you
Yeah,
go up.
There's
if you
one
go
that's
up,
in the gray box.
maybe the margin went. Go to the next page, the one on both.
But I would definitely just like mess around.
Yeah, I
with
don't think
those
so.
triangles.
No, I did?
No, just did it down there.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So are we all good? So let's do this. So we still don't have any page numbers inserted. And that is like the magical part, right? Is putting in the page numbers. So
I have.
Yeah.
I added a page break just next to references. So every time that I try to add something there, it takes me to the next page. How do I avoid that?
you have page break. Where's your page break?
It's just next to the word reference.
Oh, right here, or
Yeah.
right here,
No, the other side, on the other side.
right here.
Mhm.
So you can't type in anything here.
How do I get rid of that?
Yeah, that's a good question. So,
You put your cursor in front of the page break, press enter a few times, and then
It sends it to the next page, oh man.
really,
Yeah,
you can try and put your cursor in front of the word references and hit enter.
it did it.
It did it. So then you can delete the word references or copy and paste it and put it up above where it's supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah, you can try that. All right. So what the next thing we're going to do is we're going to just scroll through these preliminary pages here until we get to we got list of tables, list of figures, and then statement of academic and professional goals, and then resume. So resume is our last, if you look on this document right here, resume is the last preliminary page. So all the pages in this first section, 1 through 10, right? They are going to go, they are going to have Roman numerals. And then everything after that is going to have Arabic numerals. So what do we do if we want something to be different in one part of our document versus another part? What do we have to put in?
section.
break.
Section break. Yeah, you got it. So I'm going to get rid of this page break right here. I just selected it and hit delete. And then I'm going to put in a section break instead, a next page section break. Okay. So down to the resume is one section, and below that, starting in chapter 1A, that's a new section. We good? Let's go all the way to the top. And see these little paragraph symbols that are kind of gray? That's in the footer, right? And so there's a couple of different ways that we can get to the footer, but we could double click down here. That'll open up the footer. All right, you could also go to the insert menu and insert page numbers. Okay. So I'm going to just go to insert menu and go over here to page numbers. And the thesis office wants page numbers to be bottom right, bottom center, or top right, I think. I'm just going to put them bottom center. Okay, so I can go to bottom page. And I'll use the plain number and put it down there, right in the center. Okay. And then if I scroll down from there, you'll see that the page numbers are normal numbers, and that even after my resume, the page numbers are changed already. So changed to a new. Did you all get that too? That on chapter 1A, it's 1? Or is it 11? It is 1. Okay, so it did it automatically. Probably because I keep using the same document and reformatting it, or just redoing it. Now, usually on the title page, you don't have a page number. So we're going to, do you have the header and footer menu open? I'm going to click different first page. That should get rid of the page number there. And then if you scroll down, we got the 2 down here, and I want to make that a Roman numeral, so I'm going to select it. And then on the left side over here, I have header, footer, and page number. And I'm going to go to page number and format page numbers. And here's where we can select a different number format. I'm going to select Roman numerals. And then click OK. All right, so we should have Roman numeral 2, 3, and then if I scroll down, we should still have after resume in chapter 1A, we should still have 1, and we do. Okay, if you didn't, what you can do is select this, like let's say that this was XI, which would mean 11 in Roman numerals. If that's what it was, then you click here, this link to previous, and if you deselect it, then that means that you don't want the formatting of this section to be linked to the previous one. Okay, Alex.
You may have just answered it, but if you created a section for turning your page sideways, will our numbers start over? And if so,
let's go check it. It's a great question. Where did it go? Did it get rid of it? Gave you a 1. Okay, so is this where it started? Oh yeah, right here, huh? So above it, no, it's a 1. So that's 7. We want this to continue, right? So we want this to be 8. So I'm going to select it. And then I'm going to click link to previous. Let's see what, I don't know what it's going to do, but let's just click it and see what happens. So it doesn't do anything. I'm going to click, so that's deselected. I'm going to select it again, link to previous. You want to delete this header and connect to the header and footer in the previous section. Let's try it. It doesn't do anything, does it? Okay, so it's selected right now. Here is, and I don't know why it did that. So I'm going to go to page numbers and go to format page numbers. And I'm going to go to continue from previous section. Let's see if that does it.
Yeah.
Okay, but then this one is still messed up. So we do the same thing. So select this right here, go to page numbers, format page numbers, continue from previous section, and that should take care of it for the rest of the document. Okay. Cool.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah, right?
Do like a mini demo for next year in some chemistry, how to do page break?
How to do all this?
No,
Just page break? Yeah, I could do a mini demo for page break.
because that's what I was trying.
All right. Yeah, I could do that. So let's close the header and the footer. Now let's go down to the table of contents. All right, so I put in some stuff here, but we're going to delete most of it. So I'm just going to start here. I'm gonna delete all that right there. Right. And then, okay, let's do this. Here's our list of tables, and below that is our list of figures. Okay. Let's go ahead and format our table of contents. All right, so I have page and then I think this is all formatted as preliminary pages, and then I got a enter and then another enter. So I'm going to start it right here, my table of contents. Okay, so I'm going to go to insert. Nope, not insert. Let's do, let's see if references has it. Yeah, references has it. And we're going to table of contents here. And you could just do this automatic table 1. That usually works fine. I'm going to also show you custom table of contents. So click on that. And usually the best one to use is just the default one. Okay. So we'll select the options, and what it's going to do is automatically search through and only do table of contents for headings 1 through 3 right now. Okay, but I want it to do for all of them, right? For all 5. So in the show levels, I'm going to bump that up to 5. Okay. And then if we go here, you'll see as you scroll down that you got headings 1 through 5 are all there. Okay. And so basically what this is doing is that this is telling Microsoft Word which headings to look for to put in your table of contents. So if you wanted to put your table captions and your figure captions in this table of contents, you would just need to put a 1 in those boxes. Okay. But we don't want to do that. We just want headings 1 through 5 in there. Okay. And then click OK. And so just click OK. Okay. And so the default is that it's double spaced, and that's fine for now. And also notice that for my chapter 5, see that C is lowercase because when I put it in, I didn't hit the shift key. All right. So that's just reiterating the point that whatever format you type it in, that's what's going to print, or that's what's going to be in your table of contents. All right, so I'm going to select it again. And actually, I'm just going to undo, get rid of it. And then I'm going to go and we're going to reinsert it. I'm going to show you how you can change some of the formatting of the table of contents specifically if you wanted to. Like, let's say you wanted to make it single spaced instead of double spaced. So we'll go back to table of contents, go to custom table of contents. And here you want to go to modify. Okay, so for table of content level 1, the style is based upon normal, and we can modify it if we want to. And here's essentially what normal looks like. So if we wanted to make it single spaced, right, we can just go here and make it single spaced. So every time heading 1 is selected here, there's going to be single spacing around it if we did this. And if we wanted the same thing to happen with table of contents level 2, we would do the same thing there. Okay, and I think we could click OK. And then let's go to table of contents 2, modify, and single space that, and so forth. So you can do it to all of them. What do you prefer? Single spaced or double spaced? Yeah.
Yeah, single space better.
Single space is better. Or maybe what might, why don't we do this? So table of contents 1, let's modify that one. We'll single space it, but if we go to paragraph above it, we'll create a space, right? So like there will be heading 1, and then everything within heading 1 will be single spaced. Then when it goes to finds heading 1 again, there will be a space in between that and the next one. So the way that I do that is the spacing before. I could just bump that up to 12. Yeah, so I went here, format and paragraph. Okay.
You selected that after that window.
I went here, paragraph, and then I did a before to 12. Yeah.
And 0 at the bottom.
And 0 at the bottom. Yeah, and then you can see a preview of it down here. That's what it's going to look like. I go, okay, and I go, okay, and then I'm going to go table of contents 2 is fine. We just did that. Table of contents 3 level. I'm just going to make that single spaced like that, and then click OK. Table of contents 4, same, and make that single space. Click OK. And then table of contents 5, I'll do the same thing. Modify, single space, OK. And we'll click OK. And we'll click OK. That looks pretty good. Okay. Good. Now, the page, word page is not where it should be, right? The word page should be over on the right. So the way that we can do that easily is I'm going to get rid of that text right there. And then I'm going to put my cursor in front of the word page. And this is a cool kind of formatting tool and a little bit tricky. But up here, you see that white box, and on a Mac, it might be different. But do you have it, Emily? No. Do you all have the ruler?
Oh, you know, where do you select that?
Okay, so if you go to view menu, and right here, you can check the ruler. Check the ruler, and then it should come up. Got it. Okay. So this right here tells you the type of tab stop. So by default, you have a left tab stop. And if you click on it, that's a center tab stop. And if you click again, you're going to get a right tab stop. And then if you click again, you'll get a center justified tab stop with a decimal. So let's say that you wanted all the decimal points in a column to line up, like 52.57. And then you go to the next line and you have 62.88. All the decimals are going to line up. So that's what that one does. And then this next one, I don't remember what that one does, the straight line up and down. And then you can put in another one of those that's more of like first line indent. But what we want is the right tab stop. No, I missed it. That one. Okay. So the way that works is that whatever tab stop you've selected here, if you click on the ruler, you just click anywhere, it'll insert that kind of tab stop there. Okay. And if you don't like it, or if you want to get rid of it, you click on it and drag it off of it and it gets rid of it. Okay. So I want to put it all the way here, right? Kind of where my right margin ends, but it's very difficult to click right at the end of my right margin. So I'm going to click just somewhere over here like that, and I'll put in my right tab stop, and then I'm going to go up to it, and my cursor will change to the arrow, and that means that I can click on it and drag it to the end where I want it. I want to show this right at the end there. Okay. And then if you hit tab, bring the page number to be right justified. And if you wanted to type in anything else, this is the last page, right? That means that everything is aligned on the right margin and it's just going to go to the left. So this is helpful for resume formatting also. Maybe you use this.
I'm sorry, I missed the part that you moved the word page to the right.
Okay. Yeah, I get you. So with your cursor in front of the word page,
Yeah.
if you hit the tab button, push it over. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So if you look through your table of contents, should look pretty much the way that you want it. It did, interestingly, see this, we have some spacing that I wouldn't have chosen, right? It looks like it's maybe 1.5 spacing. So we could adjust that if we wanted to, but you know how to adjust it if you need to, right? So let's go down to our list of tables and list of figures. Okay, so do the same thing that's here, right? Let's put in a tab stop and bring the page over to the right like you did before. And if, incidentally, if you want to keep that same tab stop, if you put your cursor on the right side of page and hit enter, that tab stop will stay. Okay, in the next line. But notice that the line below it, if you click down there, the tab stop is gone because when we formatted it originally, we didn't have a tab stop in there. You know what I mean? Okay, so I don't want it, so I'm just going to leave it like that. All right, so this is going to be our list of tables. And so what we're going to tell Word to do is that everywhere where we put in table caption, it's going to bring that information up here and put it here with the page numbers. Okay, and then we'll do the same thing with the figure caption. So for this case, we go to references again. And we do insert table of figures. Okay. Got it. So click on that. And we should have the boxes checked, show page numbers, right align page numbers, tab leader. Tab leader just means that from the end of your text to the page number, you have the dot, 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 dot. And the formats, we can go from the template, which is great, but the caption label is something that we want to be different than figure, right? Because we want Word to search for figure caption. Okay, so here's where we're going to go to options. And for the style, we need to find figure. No, is this table or which one is this? Is this table? Table. Okay, so we want this to be table caption. That one. Okay, and then you click OK. Okay, so what I did again was I went to modify. No, I didn't go to modify. Sorry. I went to options and I went to style and I clicked on the down arrow until I found what we formatted all of our table captions as, which was table caption.
I don't think I have insert table of figures on my ribbon.
Okay. So let's see here. So up here, what do you have?
And to look back and forth. It's just like not there.
Okay.
It has
You
a
had,
section next to it, but yeah.
you had insert you had table of contents right in there. All right, let me do something here real quick.
There's a drop down at the table of contents. Maybe it could be in there. Oh, what if you press that?
All right, so I'm just gonna go through it all again. For Mac users, instead of insert table of captions, you have a button over here that just says captions with a down arrow, right? And then you can select insert table of figures. All right, so we went to options. The style that we chose was table caption. We clicked OK. And let's go to modify before we put it in. And let's modify this. And the default is going to be double spaced. And we want that to be single spaced. But after each one, we want to insert like a line. And so here's where I'm going to go to format, paragraph, And on the spacing after, I'm going to change that to 12 again. We'll click OK, click OK, click OK, we'll click OK. And hey, how about that?
So on the one before you did 12 before, right?
The one before I did 12 before, because I wanted in the table of contents that's up here, I want there to be a space between all my heading ones, but within a heading one, like I want the heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5 to all be single space below it, right? So if I put in a 12 point after, then when it puts in like heading 2 right here for the academic goals, that would be down line. That's why I did that. Okay. So let's do the same thing for, let's see if you can do it. All right. We're going for a list of figures now. So why don't you work on all the little steps that we did last time? And in the options menu here, what style are we going to look for? Yeah, figure caption, right? Yep. So we'll go to figure caption. Click OK. And then we also want to modify it like we did before. Modify. Oh, it's single spaced already. And actually, it's already done, I think, for us. Let's check and go to modify. Let's see if is the paragraph good. Oh, did it the way that we wanted it. Cool. All right. Okay. And it'll say, do you want, mine always does this, do you want to replace the selected table of figures? No, because what that means is going to replace the list of tables. We wanted to do a new thing. Click no. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? Saves a ton of time, right? And you're going to have a large document by the end of this. So it's going to save you a ton of time, right? All right, so why don't you save that? And if you don't have any questions, that's kind of like you got all the tools and skills that you need in order to format a large document. And for stuff that you run up against that you don't know how to do, if you go to YouTube and just type in formatting, Microsoft Word, whatever the thing is that you wanted to, that you ask, someone will have posted something on YouTube about it. Okay.